Hi, I'm Anthony Bracatelli, and I've studied graphology since I was 11 years old. This is an amazing subject. A lot of people don't know what graphology is, but graphology refers to the psychological analysis of handwriting. So when I look at a handwriting, I can fathom the basic motivations, conflicts, desires, fears, and all kinds of areas of life that are of concern to people from nearly every walk of life. So if you're in law enforcement, or if you want job profiling, or if you want compatibility assessment, or if you're interested in simply what's going on in my life, what's my personality type, how can I get along well in society, well, handwriting analysis is not the only tool, but handwriting analysis is an essential means of psychodiagnostically approaching the psyche. And the actual basis of graphology is rooted in the concept that handwriting is brain writing. So in other words, it's not just the hand that writes. It's a very complex cerebral orchestration of events. So you have the cortex, you have the subcortex, and together this comprises a very elaborate cybernetic system, which you can also relate to Freud and Jung and Maslow and Kretschmer and virtually any kind of depth psychology. Now, I've studied graphology now for so many years that I've had the opportunity to look at thousands of handwritings, and I can tell you that there have been people who have approached me and they were just astonished by what I had to tell them. I had one scenario where there was a lawyer who had lost thousands of dollars to a bad investor, and if he had known what the investor's handwriting looked like, he would never have gone along with it. He just knew that there was something wrong, but he didn't have the psychological insight to avoid this bad scenario. So actually one of the great advantages of handwriting analysis is that you can avert risk, immense financial loss, and not only that, but from a relationship standpoint, if you're thinking of should I marry this person? Should I date this person? Now you actually know who you're dealing with. Or if you're going to babysit, is this person to be trusted? What is the likelihood that they're going to steal? You can basically tell if a person is honest or dishonest, and there are thousands of U.S. companies that use graphology. Now, why me? Why would you want me as a graphologist? Well, first of all, I am absolutely familiar with only the best European graphology. I have read hundreds of sources, and these sources, many of them are rare sources, so I've made a very profound study of the subject, and I'm currently writing a work of over 1,000 pages, over 80 chapters of work, and in this book I detail some of the most difficult areas of handwriting analysis, such as what is the role of the brain in handwriting. And my goal is basically to introduce the best of European graphology to the United States. In fact, in Germany there's a term Schriftpsychologie, meaning that graphology is considered to be integrated with the field of diagnostic psychology. So also graphology can be of use to people who want to understand the potential areas of, say, addiction or compulsion, or various mental illnesses such as compulsive personality, schizophrenia. Now, graphology can even have medical applications, but that tends to be a very nebulous area, and so for the most part people avoid using graphology in that context. And I would also go along with the idea that there needs to be a lot more research involving the motor system, the Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and then people will understand the writing from a very fine-grained level. Now, I had the opportunity to study philosophy and psychology and as an undergrad at NYU, and after that I learned to translate in French and German, and at the time I couldn't read a lot of these books, but I picked them up, and I became very passionately interested to an extent that I would never realize that I would, from an 11-year-old boy who had just picked up a book on the psychology of handwriting to today, that now I have developed this profound interest. So it is always a beautiful thing to understand that even though we can't determine everything about a person from their handwriting, for instance, we can't determine the age, we can't determine the biological sex of the writer, nor can we determine handedness. These are all inferences. We can determine a range of psychological characteristics, and ultimately the personality is understood as a gestalt, and so is the writing. So when I look at handwriting, I evaluate such things as the movement, the form, the space, the rhythm, the tension, the organization, and there are various protocols that different graphologists use, but I don't go by any strict topology. So when I do an analysis, I sit down and I get an overall holistic impression, and then I'm able to analyze the individual features of writing both from a neurophenomenological point of view and from a psychoanalytic point of view. So in other words, there's a physiology and a psychology to writing which are intimately interwoven. So ultimately you look at the writing as though it were, say, a brain physiological picture, but then there is an associated psychology, and in the future you'll see much more research done with digital tablets, and you'll find that people will be able to quantify aspects to a much greater extent than currently exists. So in short, I would like to thank you for taking an interest in graphology, and I hope you visit my website, handwritinganalysisworld.com.